Pam Bondi is once again incriminating Donald Trump. And it's important to remember that when it comes to the Epstein Files Transparency Act, Pam Bondi didn't just break the law once. She violated it by missing the December 19th deadline, by failing to fully release the files, and she continues to break the law every single day those documents remain withheld. A recently resurfaced and leaked clip makes it painfully clear why this is happening. We're going to break it all down. Why Donald Trump is facing renewed and serious trouble over his Epstein cover-up, and how that cover-up is unraveling in real time. But before we get into that, if you could take a moment to leave a like on this video, and if you enjoy the channel, hit that subscribe button. It genuinely helps support our work. Before diving deeper into Pam Bondi role, I want to start with the latest developments in the Epstein story and how Democrats are responding as we head into the new year. That brings us to Marjorie Taylor Greene and what she said in a recent New York Times report. According to that report, Trump angrily told Greene that releasing the Epstein files would hurt my friends, and even went so far as to claim that Epstein's victims had done nothing to deserve the honor of meeting him. Representative Robert Garcia is now responding to this broader cover-up, and his reaction says a lot about how serious and how exposed this situation has become. Let's take a look at that clip right here.
We're getting an enormous amount of sloppiness. We're getting files that are being overly redacted. We're getting other files where survivors' names are actually mentioned. And yet, who's not being, of course, redacted? We have to look at all the files in front of us and see who is being protected. There's also, in this case, very seriously, as we know, names of co-conspirators that are possibly being protected and hidden by Pam Bondi and by the FBI and the DOJ. That is incredibly concerning. And so we're going to expose survivors, but protect co-conspirators and pedophiles. That is, right now, Donald Trump's Department of Justice, and I'm so glad that the American public is finally seeing that this is a massive White House cover-up.
We talked about this in an earlier video when it came to Marjorie Taylor Greene and what she says Donald Trump told her during that screaming phone call, and honestly, I believe every word of it. In almost any other situation, I'd have a very hard time believing anything Marjorie Taylor Greene says. But when it comes to Donald Trump yelling on a phone call, I completely buy it. What's more, the timing seems to line up. This appears to be around the same day Trump had that moment where he completely lost his voice. Remember when he could barely speak and looked like he'd blown out his vocal cords? That was right around the time these revelations were coming out. So it's absolutely possible it was the same day. A lot of this tracks. And what Robert Garcia said is especially important when it comes to Pam Bondi. We need more Democrats making this point loudly and clearly. Eric Swalwell has done it. Ro Khanna did it on night one when he said he would press charges against Pam Bondi, because this isn't a one-off. This is a much larger operation, just like Epstein's criminal network was. Everyone involved needs to understand they will be held accountable. And I mean everyone. If you're helping Pam Bondi in any way, even getting her a cup of coffee, you're participating in a violation of the law. The DOJ apparatus that is currently serving Donald Trump is violating the law, full stop. This cover-up was always going to become political under Donald Trump. But before we get into the resurfaced Bondi clip, it's important to hear what Trump most recently said about Epstein, because it puts everything happening right now into context.
It was a Bill Clinton in the Epstein files, and can you commit to their full release by the end of the year? Some of the victims were protesting that too many of them were redacted.
I know there are a lot of people that are angry about all of the pictures of other people, but I think it's terrible. Look, I like Bill Clinton. I've always gotten along with Bill Clinton. I've been nice to him. He's been nice to me. We've always gotten along. Respect him. I hate to see photos come out of him, but this is what the Democrats, mostly Democrats, and a couple of bad Republicans are asking for. So they're giving their photos of me, too. Everybody was friendly with this guy, either friendly or not friendly, but he was around. He was all over Palm Beach and other places. The head of Harvard was his best friend, Larry Summers. And Bill Clinton was a friend of his, but everybody was. I actually threw him out of Mar-a-Lago. And as a person that was in Mar-a-Lago, I threw him out. Mar-a-Lago, this is Mar-a-Lago. It's the hottest place I think it's the hottest place in the world, but it's the hottest place in Florida. And everybody would come here, he'd come here. We actually threw him out. But no, I don't like the pictures of Bill Clinton being shown. I don't like the pictures of other people being shown. I think it's a terrible thing. I think Bill Clinton's a big boy. He can handle it. But you probably have pictures being exposed of other people that innocently met Jeffrey Epstein years ago, many years ago, and they're highly respected bankers and lawyers and others, and they'll end up, because of guys like Massey, who's a real lowlife, whose polls are down to about...
The whole Trump-Clinton angle is interesting because while the DOJ is clearly doing whatever Donald Trump wants, they may also think they have their own strategy. And this matters for what we're about to see from Pam Bondi. Their approach seems to be flood the media with photos of Bill Clinton and say, see? Democrats love Bill Clinton, but I don't love Bill Clinton. If Bill Clinton committed crimes with Jeffrey Epstein, he should be in prison. It's that simple. What they don't realize is that this strategy actually tells a much bigger story. Donald Trump wants everyone to just move on from Epstein altogether. Kash Patel claimed there were no co-conspirators, yet Pam Bondi releasing photos of Epstein with Bill Clinton and other powerful figures only reinforces the opposite conclusion, that there were many co-conspirators and that transparency is necessary. This isn't just about Donald Trump. It's about a full release of the Epstein files and holding everyone involved accountable. Yes, Trump has drawn particular attention. There are countless photos of him with Epstein, and he's been aggressively blocking the release of these files. But that behavior directly contradicts what Pam Bondi herself said in a resurfaced clip from a decade ago.
Again, we try to respond as quickly as possible. The public has a right to know. It's all about transparency in government, but some requests are voluminous, so it depends on the request. But we do our best to almost drop everything and comply with public records requests as soon as possible here in my office, and that's what I can speak for.
Bulwark founder Sarah Longwell wrote on Twitter, 2025. Pam Bondi should take some notes from 2011 Pam Bondi, as she tweeted out that clip as she was the Attorney General of Florida. Yeah, Pam. All anyone is asking for is transparency. That's it. This isn't political. And once again, Republicans give the whole thing away the longer they talk. When they claim Democrats are politicizing Epstein or only care because it hurts Donald Trump, they're admitting two things at once. First, that this clearly does hurt Donald Trump, and second, that they view accountability as a political issue. Democrats don't. Democrats want justice for survivors and accountability for victims. They want powerful people held responsible, not just because Epstein was protected by elites, but because this involved an entire criminal ecosystem. Institutions like Harvard had deep, documented ties to Epstein. J.P. Morgan Chase openly discussed sanitizing Epstein's accounts while he was committing crimes and moving massive amounts of money. If that was happening then, why should anyone believe it isn't happening now? And this raises a broader issue. Financial institutions are barely held accountable for anything. Banks rake in billions, whether it's tens of billions or even a fraction of that, from overdraft fees alone, extracting wealth from people who have the least. These same institutions will squeeze everyday Americans dry, but when it comes to protecting a wealthy pedophile and his enablers, they somehow escape scrutiny. That alone demands investigation and stronger oversight. So when Pam Bondi or Republican media figures think releasing photos of Bill Clinton or celebrities will redirect attention away from Donald Trump, it shows a total misunderstanding of the situation. This isn't a PR problem. You can't spin a relationship with pedophiles. And when people like Megyn Kelly call this a PR disaster, the question is, PR for what? This isn't optics. These are people's lives. Republicans consistently reveal that they see this as a messaging game, not a moral crisis. What's especially telling is how coordinated this deflection is. Trump's own White House communications team and DOJ-linked accounts are pushing Clinton photos in unison. That's because the DOJ's messaging apparatus has effectively been absorbed by Trump's political operation. The message is clear. Don't talk about Trump. Talk about Clinton. But that only reinforces why we should be talking about all co-conspirators, past and present. Trump also wants people to believe the cover-up either just started now or somehow already ended. Neither is true. He likely believed that signing the Epstein Files Transparency Act would make the issue go away, that he could declare it finished and move on. But the cover-up didn't begin in this administration, and it didn't end with that signature. Trump has been trying to distance himself from Epstein since long before he became president, because he understood how damaging that relationship was. If Steve Bannon, J.P. Morgan, and other powerful actors were actively working to clean up Epstein's image, why wouldn't Donald Trump have done the same during his first term? Where are the emails? Where are the internal White House discussions? There are books, documentaries, and extensive reporting on Epstein. Are we supposed to believe there were zero conversations inside Trump's first administration about protecting him from fallout? We already know correspondence exists referencing Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Epstein flights. So where is the rest of it? Those are the questions that matter. Those are the questions we should be asking, and the ones we're going to keep pressing on this show. And if you want to support that work, as always, hit the subscribe button, leave a like on the video, and if you made it to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I will see you soon.